What would make one of football's biggest stars burst into tears on live television? Not a trophy celebration, not a personal milestone, but a moment that an entire nation had been waiting nearly a century to experience. Mohamed Salah, the face of Egyptian football, could not hold back his emotions after leading Egypt to a historic World Cup breakthrough. Moments after scoring an ice-cold Panenka penalty under immense pressure, Salah stood before the cameras and broke down in tears. It was a scene that instantly captured the hearts of football fans around the world, and the story behind that emotional moment is even more incredible. For Egypt, this was not just another World Cup match. This was history in the making. The African giants had reached the knockout stages of the World Cup for the first time since 1934. Think about that for a second. Nearly a century had passed since Egypt last stood among the tournament's final contenders. Generations of players had dreamed of this moment. Generations of fans had waited for it. And now, on one unforgettable night, that dream became reality. At the center of it all was Mohamed Salah. At 34 years old, the Liverpool legend once again showed why he remains one of the most influential figures in world football. The match eventually came down to a nerve-shredding penalty shootout. Every kick carried enormous pressure. One mistake could end the dream. One successful strike could bring Egypt closer to history. As the tension reached its peak, Salah stepped forward. But what happened next surprised almost everyone. Instead of blasting the ball with power, Salah chose one of football's boldest and riskiest techniques, a Panenka. With remarkable composure, he delicately chipped the ball past substitute goalkeeper Matey Ryan. The stadium erupted. The confidence, the courage, the timing, it was the kind of moment that defines careers. And Salah's penalty became one of the defining images of Egypt's historic victory. Egypt converted all 4 of their penalties in the shootout, while crucial misses from Harry Souttar and teenager Lucas Harrington proved costly. When the final penalty was scored, the celebrations exploded. Players rushed onto the pitch. Fans celebrated wildly. And Egypt officially secured their first ever World Cup knockout victory, a landmark achievement for the nation. But while supporters celebrated, the emotional weight of the moment was beginning to hit Salah. Then came the interview. And suddenly, football's biggest story was no longer the penalty shootout. Standing in front of the BBC cameras, Salah struggled to hide what he was feeling. The joy, the relief, the pride. Tears filled his eyes as he reflected on what Egypt had just achieved. For years, Salah has carried the hopes of millions of Egyptians on his shoulders. He has delivered unforgettable goals, broken records, and become one of the most recognizable footballers on the planet. But this moment felt different. This was bigger than individual success. This was about a nation finally reaching a milestone that had remained out of reach for decades. During the interview, Salah was also asked about a potential dream showdown in the round of 16. A possible clash against Lionel Messi and Argentina. The prospect immediately captured global attention. 2 football icons, 2 legendary careers, 1 massive World Cup encounter. But Salah remained focused and respectful. He said, "That might happen, but we must first respect the Cape Verde national team." He continued, "Argentina will play their next match shortly, and after that, we'll see what happens." It was a calm and measured response from a player who understood that football can never be taken for granted. Yet another fascinating detail emerged after the match. Before the shootout, Salah was reportedly among a group of Egyptian players studying laptop footage of goalkeeper Matey Ryan. Every detail mattered. Every possible advantage was considered. But even with all that preparation, Salah revealed that his Panenka was not a pre-planned decision. In fact, he changed his mind at the very last moment. Reflecting on the audacious penalty, he said, "If somebody was going to do it, it would be me." Then he explained the reasoning behind the decision. "I am more experienced than others and I wanted to give them confidence. I decided last minute I had to do it." Those words perfectly captured the leadership role Salah embraced during the biggest moment of Egypt's World Cup campaign. Not just a goal scorer, not just a superstar. A leader willing to take responsibility when everything was on the line. As the celebrations continue, one image will remain unforgettable. Not the penalty itself, not the celebrations, not even the historic result, but Mohamed Salah standing in front of the cameras, overwhelmed by emotion after helping write one of the greatest chapters in Egyptian football history. For nearly 90 years, Egypt waited for a World Cup moment like this. And when it finally arrived, the man who helped make it happen could not hold back the tears. Now, with history already made, a new challenge awaits. Will Egypt continue their incredible World Cup journey? And could a blockbuster showdown with Lionel Messi still be on the horizon? One thing is certain, after this unforgettable night, the world will be watching.